If you can start but never stay consistent, there is a scientific reason for that, and it has nothing to do with discipline. You start strong on Monday, and by Thursday, your routine has already fallen apart. You're not exhausted, you still care about the goal, but yet you just stop. And then blame yourself for being inconsistent. But let me tell you this, you did not lose motivation. Your brain hit a built in shutdown point. And if you ever thought, what's wrong with me? This video will explain why there's nothing wrong with you and why your routines keep collapsing anyway. So by the end of this video, you will know why habits usually die around week 2, the 3 brain biases that kill consistency, and 5-step system you can use this week, even on your worst days. So let's start with the moment when everything falls apart. Consistency almost always collapses when novelty wears off. You know how it goes: new habit, new routine, new project. For a few days, you feel unstoppable. And then week 2 hits. Suddenly, everything that used to feel exciting now feels heavy. You didn't change. Your goals didn't change, but something in your brain has shifted. Novelty gives you dopamine, curiosity, energy, momentum. But once novelty fades, your brain switches to efficiency mode. And that's where most systems break. Quick check. Be honest with yourself. Do your habits collapse in week 2 or they burn out even faster? Most people think that they need more motivation. But here's the truth. Your brain is designed to kill any routine that feels unsustainable. And it's not a willpower problem, it's a reliability problem. And once you understand why, everything will become much easier. Back when I worked in psychology, I saw the same pattern every day. People made big plans, felt motivated, and then still fell off. Not because their goals changed, but because their brain did. Why did it happen? Because your brain runs on 2 modes: anticipation, we're moving, and completion, we're done. Most people design routines that feel like too much from the start. Your brain looks at the plan, labels it as unsustainable, and shuts the whole thing down before you even begin. This is exactly what happened in my self taught developer era before I enrolled to school to get my computer science degree. I built these perfect study plans, that kind that only would work on those days when motivation, mood, and energy would perfectly line up. I'd follow it for a few days, then hit one hard topic, then spiral on it for a few hours, and the next day I didn't even want to study at all. Sometimes not even next week. And eventually, like everyone else, I would start over with a completely new course. I wasn't inconsistent. I was building a system that only worked for the version of me that didn't even exist. Chances are you're doing the exact same thing with your habits. But everything changed when I started joining engineering online communities. Not because of the coding, but because I started to understand how real engineers think. Software engineers don't build systems that work only when they feel like it. Systems have to run when people are tired, when systems break, when team is stressed, when everything is messy. In tech, reliability beats ambition every time. There's even a role dedicated to this, a reliability engineer. To put it simple for my non-tech viewers, it's someone who designs systems that keep working even when everything goes wrong. That's exactly how you need to design your habits. Most people build startup founder habits. Huge ambition, but zero reliability. But what you want is boring infrastructure habits. Low drama, always on. Good habit system works on your worst days, when you're tired, stressed, distracted, not only on your perfect days. When someone says, I'm inconsistent, what I hear is, you build a system that requires perfect conditions. And human brain is allergic to perfect conditions. Consistency collapses for 3 predictable psychological reasons. and none of them are about discipline. Your brain avoids anything that feels expensive. Your brain is wired to conserve energy. If the habit feels mentally heavy or has too many steps, your brain resists it automatically. It's not laziness, it's biology. Think about the 90-minute perfect morning routine, a 12-step skincare workflow, or a study plan that requires 3 apps and a color-coded Notion setup. Your brain looks at that and quietly says, not today. Your brain needs fast feedback to stay engaged. If you don't feel a tiny bit of progress, your brain just disconnects. Working out but not seeing a physical change, learn to code but still feeling like a beginner, cleaning for an hour but your house still looks like a complete mess. Your brain concludes, this is not working. No visible feedback, no reinforcement, no consistency. Your brain protects the identity that you've repeated the most. Your self image acts like a psychological anchor. If your old story was I always fall off, your brain treats it as a temporary, like an experiment, but not as a part of who you are. And your environment actually shapes it way more than you think. If your coworkers procrastinate, if your friends constantly make jokes about being inconsistent, if your family always says, oh, nobody never sticks to anything in this house, your brain normalizes their identity, not your goal. Motivation sparks change. Repeated evidence, supported by the environment, rewires identity. So, how do you fix that? There is a 5-step system that can make your consistency feel automatic. Make the first step stupid easy. Your brain hates long setup times. So if the habit takes more than 30 seconds to start, your brain flags it as a high effort. So make the first step ridiculously easy. If you coding, open VS Code or your favorite code editor. Trying to work out in the gym? Just put on gym shoes. Cleaning? Put away one thing that's out of place. The easier the entry point, the less resistance your brain has. Make the first step so simple that it feels almost silly. That's the point. Shrink the action, not the goal. Your brain cannot process huge tasks, but it loves small, runnable units. This is literally how engineers solve problems. Divide and conquer. Don't finish the whole module. Solve one tiny coding problem. Fix one little bug. Or print something simple. Or refactor one line. Don't deep clean the kitchen. Just wipe one surface. Small actions create momentum, and momentum creates consistency. So make this action so small that your brain cannot say no. Externalize the reward. Your brain needs a visible proof that says, good job, do it again. So track the behavior, not the outcome. A check mark, a streak, a timer, a simple habit tracker. So for example, if you coding, track tiny wins. One solved bug, one working snippet, one little feature. Micro wins are the fuel. If you don't see the progress, your brain believes there's none. And this one might be the most important. Design your habit to survive the worst day. Most routines only work when life is perfect. High energy, good mood, no interruptions, motivation at 100%. But consistency is built on messy days. So create a minimal version that still counts. So on your worst day of coding, just open a code editor and try to debug one line of code. Your worst day of gym, just stretch for 2 minutes. So if your habit works on bad days, you're gonna crush it on every other day without even thinking about it. Build identity through small proof. Your brain does not believe what you promise. It believes what you repeat. Every tiny action is a vote towards the identity that you becoming. So if it's 3 minutes of coding every day, your identity changes to the person who touches the code on a regular basis. If you do a couple minutes of reading, you become a person who reads, and your environment reinforces that. Being around consistent people makes your brain see you as consistent as well. Identity is not going to change because you declare it, it changes because you prove it, one tiny action at a time. So I want you to pick a habit that you have been restarting and redesign the first 2 minutes of it so it feels effortless. That alone can restart your consistency. If you want, drop that habit in the comments and tell me what your 2 minute version of it is. So remember this, you're not a problem. Your system was. When you build habits for the brain you have, consistency stops being something that you chase and starts being something that you do naturally. If you're tired of relying on motivation, hit subscribe because next Monday I'm going to talk about the myth of motivation and how to build systems that actually work even on the days when you feel like doing nothing. See you then.